Have you ever gotten a pay raise, felt amazing for about 5 minutes, and then looked at your bank account and realized you're somehow still struggling? Well, today we're going to dive into exactly why that happens using a really simple story about a monkey and his bananas.
It is such a frustrating cycle, isn't it? And it all boils down to this one big question. And look, this feeling, it isn't just you. It's something people are dealing with all over the world. And by the end of this, you're going to understand the hidden forces that are making it all happen.
All right, so to wrap our heads around this huge, complex issue, let's start with something small and simple. Let's start with a story about a monkey and what happens when he gets a pay raise.
So picture this monkey. He's a really hard worker. You know, he gets up early, he works all day long, he does everything he's supposed to. He earns his living in leaves. That's the currency in his jungle.
Then, one day, bam! Some fantastic news comes down from the monkey government. They've announced a wage increase. And our monkey, as you can imagine, is absolutely over the moon.
I mean, why wouldn't he be celebrating? The math seems so simple. More leaves in his pocket should mean he can buy more bananas. He's already dreaming of a better, more comfortable life. But things are about to get complicated.
So our monkey heads down to the market, feeling great, extra leaves in hand, ready to finally enjoy the fruits of his labor. But he's met with a total shock. Just last month, one banana cost him 1 leaf. Today, a single banana costs 2 leaves. In just an instant, his entire pay raise has been completely wiped out.
He's just standing there, scratching his head, completely confused. He's thinking, wait a second, I did everything right. I got the raise. So how is it possible that the bananas, the very thing I work for, are now even further away from me than they were before?
So what in the world is really going on here? Well, our monkey's problem actually has a name, and it is the first major piece of this whole puzzle. We have to talk about the invisible force that's basically stealing his bananas.
Okay, first, let's just get clear on what minimum wage is even supposed to be. In theory, it's not designed to make anyone rich. It's supposed to be the absolute baseline for survival. You know, just enough for food, a roof over your head, and the bare necessities. That's the idea anyway.
And this brings us right to the main villain of our story, inflation. The best way to think of it is as a silent thief. It basically means that each of your leaves becomes less valuable over time. So even if you have the same number of leaves, you just can't buy as many bananas as you used to.
And this is exactly what it feels like, right? The monkey might be lucky to get a wage increase maybe once a year, but the price of bananas, that can go up every month or every week, sometimes even every day. He's running as fast as he possibly can, but the treadmill of rising costs just keeps speeding up underneath him.
Now, inflation hits everything, but there's one cost in particular that has become the single biggest challenge for our monkey. It's what we're calling the real boss fight. Let's actually put some numbers on this. Imagine the monkey earns 100 leaves. In the past, the rent for his little spot in a tree might have been, say, 30 leaves. Totally manageable. But now, that same spot costs 60 leaves. His rent has literally doubled, and it's eating up this huge chunk of his entire income.
And this right here, this forces a massive shift in his whole mindset. His goal isn't about thriving anymore. It's not about enjoying more bananas. His job has become a defensive battle. Just make enough to pay the rent so I don't lose my home. It's purely about survival.
This constant pressure, this feeling of just trying to keep your head above water, it has a name. It's called living in survival mode, and it has some very real and very stressful consequences. When you're stuck in survival mode, there is zero room for error. You can't save any leaves for the future. A single unexpected problem, like a broken branch on your tree, becomes a full-blown disaster. A vacation? Yeah, right, that's a total fantasy. And a sudden medical issue? That's pure panic. This isn't really living, is it? It's just getting by. Now you might be wondering, okay, is this just a problem for this one monkey in his one specific jungle? Well, as we're about to see, this is a story that is playing out in jungles all across the entire world.
If you listen to the monkeys in America, the story is clear. They're working full-time jobs, playing by all the rules, but that dream of actually owning their own home feels completely and totally out of reach.
Hop across the ocean to Europe, and you're going to hear a very similar tune. People have jobs, they have an income, but there is just nothing left at the end of the month to put away for a rainy day, let alone for the future.
And over in Asia, the struggle is just as real. You have monkeys working 2 jobs, putting in incredible hours, and they still find themselves falling farther and further behind. It's different jungles, but it's the exact same problem.
So from inflation to housing costs, this monkey's story isn't just happening in one place. It's a global phenomenon. So let's bring this whole thing home and talk about the human side of this story.
When you really boil it all down, the problem is this simple, kind of brutal mismatch. Wages, they tend to move slowly. Maybe they adjust once a year, if you're lucky. But prices for everything else, especially housing, food, the essentials, they move fast, way faster.
And that brings us to the most important takeaway of all. We've been telling this story about a monkey and his bananas,
But of course, this story was never really about monkeys. It's about people. It's our story.
So if you have ever looked at your paycheck and then looked at your bills and asked yourself this exact question, please know you are not alone. It is the central economic puzzle for so many of us. And understanding this race between your wages and the cost of living, well, that's the very first step.